everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of ASCII Anything presented by Mosher Consulting. I'm your host, Angel Leon, Mosher's Director of Personnel, and yes, you're actually seeing me on camera for the very first time. The reason we're here today is really because we're recording our 100th episode. Who would have thought that 3 years ago we started with this crazy idea of starting a podcast here at Mosher, but I'm not celebrating alone. Across me is producer Brian.
Hey, everybody.
And immediately to my left is our sales and marketing director, Malinda Lowder, who really is known to us as the mother of this podcast.
Podcast mom. In the building. Mom. Everybody behave.
Thank you. Yes, very happy to be here.
Well, again, we're celebrating our 100th episode, so we are really happy that you've joined us through this medium. Obviously, we're still going to have this through audio as well for those of you who listen anywhere you get your podcast. So we're really excited. We want to really dive into our history, the how-to, the how did we get here of the podcast. So we're going to be looking back at the history of the podcast, so how it came to be, where we're at right now, and where we're going, which this kind of tells you that this is where we're going, but let's just not jump into conclusions yet.
Yeah, to paraphrase David Byrne, you may find yourself with a beautiful job and a beautiful podcast, and you may ask yourself, how did I get here?
And after 100 episodes, I think we wanted to take a step back and say, how did we get here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We also are going to use a very special prop that Malinda brought in for us, and I'll let her explain what that prop is all about.
Yep, we'll do that when we get in there.
All right, let's start with the basics. How did this podcast came to be?
So, I started at Mosher 9 years ago, and it wasn't long, a couple years into that was when I started doing a lot of the marketing work and kind of started to become over the marketing team, which at that point was just me. So I was the marketing team.
It's changed a lot.
It's changed a lot. It's grown now. We have, six people in marketing.
There was not an I in that team, but yes. There was an M and an E.
Yes, there was an M and an E in the team. But we've quickly grown over that years. But it was only when I first started doing this, our people, our consultants, our experts were like, we should have a podcast. We should have a podcast. It was just bubbled up from the beginning. I remember one of the first things I did in marketing at Mosher was to do a survey. I surveyed a cross-section of employees. I had vice presidents. At that time, they were just directors. But then I had consultants, and we asked them a standard set of questions. And one of the surprise results was that people thought we should have a podcast. People thought we should be doing video. We should have a podcast, all of those things. And I was like, how am I going to do it? It's me. How am I going to do that? There's no way I can accomplish this.
Real quick, thank you to those people. I have a job. Shout out to you.
Yes. And that's part of what the first person I hired was a graphic designer. But then the second, when we got ready to expand the marketing into another position, I looked at, we're going to have to make the most of our resources. We're going to have a very small team, a scrappy team, as I like to say, but, to accomplish a lot in marketing. And I was like, okay, what position do we need? Do I need another graphic designer? Do I need, what do I need? And I thought, I need a videographer. I need somebody who can do video and audio. It was an absolute essential to me on the marketing team to get that as soon as possible. I mean, I could see where things were going with video on websites and at conferences, everything. And I was like, I absolutely need that. So that was the position I opened up. And I remember having a conversation with our managers and our owners, and we were all like, are we going to have enough to keep this person busy? I don't know. Brian, are you busy?
Spoiler alert, they had plenty.
Brian is very busy. But one of the things we said was, we'll start the podcast. And that will help this person. We had lots of other plans for them, but just the steady work that this person would do would be the podcast. And it was just natural for us. Our people wanted to do it. We have experts. in many areas of technology, and they have expertise in all sorts of other things. We have people here who are gourmet chefs and who are have all of these interests outside and who do all these wonderful things in the community. I know just going around at lunch and talking to people, I have the most interesting conversations with the people who work here. They're fabulous. So I thought this can really be successful. This can be something that will help business owners and business people, business leaders. It'll be something that helps tech people. And going to, I have some fun things from our first brainstorming session. So,
She's bringing the receipts.
What are we going to call it?
Yeah, exactly. So we knew we wanted to do it. It makes sense for Mosier. We have the people, everything like that. And then shortly after, I'm not sure on how we got connected on the podcast.
I may or may not have put my name in the hat. Just throw
It's like, hey, anybody want to be a guest or a host? And he's like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I would love to host it. We're like, and I had not zero, but not a great deal of interest in hosting in addition to producing it. That's
we weren't
a lot of balls to keep in the air.
Yeah, we weren't sure who was going to be the host. I mean, honestly, I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel like it was my specialty, and I have many other things to do. Brian was like, I will be the host, but I have a lot to do. If you see everything set up in the room when we record it, that's going to be a lot. And then On Health started working here, and I remember you saying you were interested in helping. And I was like, okay, that'd be great. You're really into podcasts. This is great. You get along with Brian. And then you came to the meeting where we did all the brainstorming and everything. And I remember either before or after the meeting, I came up to you and I said, so what role are you interested in playing? I still wasn't really quite sure. And I was like, do you want to host it? You're like, yes. And I'm like, thank God.
And the whole time we were just brainstorming and kind of first time I'd been in a room for a greater deal of time with On Hell. I was like, oh, this is going to go fine long term. I see this working out just fine.
So I do have some of the original brainstorming names. We obviously called it ASCII Anything. So some of it, IT in Our World, that was fun. Mission Control. That one was taken.
Yeah.
That one was taken. Like CTRL, control key. Mosier Hub. That was a little more Mosier-y. Floppy disk.
I liked that one.
Yeah.
We could have some fun with the graphics.
It could have been good.
We definitely had more fun with ASCII. But
You have died of dysentery. That was
I'm glad we didn't go with that one.
Brainstorming. We throw out a lot of stuff.
Like my kids have been introduced to Oregon Trail at school,
totally.
online and stuff. It's had a resurgence.
Yeah, it's been fun. So we obviously had a very open brainstorming session, and a lot of fun going back and forth. But and when we found ASCII Anything, somebody said it. I wish. I need to write down who comes up with great ideas.
I did actually.
Did you? Okay.
No,
because I was thinking about what obscure computer software or technology we could use, and I came from a world where up until probably 5 years before I joined Mosier, we actually used ASCII. So ASCII is a very old software. I still remember the green screens that you had to upload with. All those green letterings. And so
with your dot matrix printers.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was thinking ASCII, and then we came up with the Anything. I don't remember how we.
Well, there was a lot of podcasts at that time or blogs called Ask Me Anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Ask Me Anything and we'll answer.
It's a popular Reddit subreddit. It had like an AMA on Reddit for celebrities or experts in their field. So Ask Me Anything was. As soon as it came out of On Hell's mouth, I was like, I think we're done here. I said, Mosier presents ASCII Anything, and it was the last thing in the stream. So it was obviously, we all liked it, and I came up in a world of website design, and ASCII art was the stuff you put in the code that was, little creative things and jokes in the code and stuff like that. So it meant something to me, and I liked it. I thought it was great. And one of the things we did in that meeting was we spelled out the purpose. What is the purpose of this podcast? I believe in, that. What is our goal? What are we trying to do here? So we put three things in the purpose.
position our consultants as experts. Like I said, we have great people working here, and I really feel like them contributing out there is a good thing. Obviously, in the end, we like to promote Mosier. We all believe in Mosier. We all work here. We like to promote that, and then contributing to the tech community. So we are really big about being a part of the technology community, open source, and just contribution. And we've had a lot of people on, I feel like, that contribute to the tech community and the conversations that we have.
One of my favorite things in life is getting to talk to somebody who knows a lot about something that I know little or nothing about, and and learning from somebody that knows way more than I do about something, and just sitting back and going, for 15, 20, 30, sometimes 45 minutes in these episodes. I chime in when I can, but sometimes I'm just sitting back going, oh, wow. Okay. Oh, we're done. Okay. Well, I didn't say anything except, ooh, the entire time, but maybe next time.
And I feel we've gone beyond just helping the technology community, just helping the community in general. Here, obviously, we're an Indiana-based company, but we also have ties to the Baltimore, Maryland area. We've done podcast week groups from out there that really touch on community values and the things that we at Mosier really value and want to put out as an organization, because we care about our community here locally and Baltimore, but we really just want to share ideas and educate folks as much as we can, not just in technology, but we've had Habitat for Humanity, we've had many other organizations come in and just provide us with so much detail of information that I think it's been wonderful.
Yeah. And when we started this, like I said, I had only at that point worked at Mosier a few years, and I was very newly entrusted with doing their marketing. And I was the first one who had been entrusted with doing marketing here. And so I was very nervous. This was something that was had never been tried before for our company. A lot of companies have podcasts, but not a lot of tech companies were doing it or doing it well, I felt like. So this was a risk. This was really putting me out there. And I was untested in this role and untried. And like I said, I believe we hired Brian, and that was my second employee. So we were doing it on a shoestring staff. And so I had some personal goals for it. So on Hell Mention, one of the things I did was I wrote my personal goals for the podcast into this envelope and sealed it.
Secret envelope time.
It's secret envelope time. So I'm going to open it, and I think I remember roughly what this said, but this was my personal goal for doing the podcast, and if I felt like...
I'll add sound effects. Hold on.
There we go. So I wrote, in the end, if we contribute to the tech community and to the larger communities we live in, and help people learn a little more and connect where there was a gap, this will be a success.
Nice.
So that was my goal. So it meant a lot to me. This means a lot to me. And I think one of the things that happened was I was one of the people that got changed by this podcast. Listening to it, the people that we've talked to, the things we've done in the community and talk to different people and bring light on different topics. Like, I didn't know that the person that was going to be changed was me. Like, it has affected me and it has helped me. And I feel like it's helped the company, and I feel like we achieved a lot of our goals. I can't believe we're at 100 podcasts. Yeah. It's just gotten bigger than I can control, or, I've handed it off a lot to the team to just work on now, because I'm just starting to spin up more and more other things to work on. So
it's been a joy just to see it grow. Like Malinda said, the people that we brought on to speak, not just our internal consultants who have so much knowledge to share with everybody about their technological skills, but the people that we brought, just thinking back on some of the coaches that we've had, people that have talked about leadership and coaching and mentoring, etc. To just a couple of weeks ago when we had several folks, from Kelsey Aaron to Jamie McCabe, and we had some great guests so far this year. We have many more that are coming later on this season, but it's just we've been open we've been allowed to open a Pandora's box of greatness, of good things that we've put out. And so I'm with you. I'm very proud of the product that we're able to provide you, that we've been able to produce. And this man makes wonders for all the blunders that I do when I'm speaking.
Brian always makes us look good.
It's harder on video. But,
but we'll get there. So speaking of getting there, I think we've talked about the past and where we currently are. I mean, we are in a great place right now. Or again, we're celebrating our 100th episode. But thinking about the future, what does the future hold for us?
I love having people from the community on. I want to get more of that. I want to get more Mosier experts as like panels and groups on there, because I feel like the discussion when you start around it and get a couple of them talking to each other about a topic is really, really great. Mm-hmm. Just kind of keep going and growing and just stepping forward and all of it. What are you guys' thoughts for the future?
Well, I mean, this is number
video.
one. I think
moving into video has been a goal for a while of mine as well. So looking forward to doing more of this in the future. We still have to snag that elusive first celebrity podcast interview.
Yeah, and that's just a growth area, something we can grow into. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah,
what do you want to see on Help?
I think video is just a game changer. Just because being comfortable in front of the camera is probably one of the hardest things that you can ever do. So that's my very nervous laugh that I'm in front of a camera and talking to you. But it's doable, right? It's doable with practice, and that's why we're doing this today, so we can see how effective it is. And we're very proud that we're moving into this medium as much as we are moving forward. But I agree with Brian. We definitely need a celebrity guest at some point. But I do want to do something that you mentioned, and that's larger panels. It's harder to interview, but it's great to hear the product. I mean, I'm just thinking about Lori and Mike Boris, Lori Wheeler and Mike Boris, who are two of our business analysts. They're great folks. They know everything within their field, and just thinking back to that conversation, it was amazing.
Yeah, hearing them bounce off of each other, their experience, in the field, their experiences specifically at various businesses over the years, and how they interpret it and how their approach to their jobs. It was a lot of fun, and also kind of like I like our panel discussions. Even earlier, like just everybody's got a nightmare scenario story.
Yes,
from the help desk or from just being in a tech related job, like people coming in with like, what's the worst thing you've ever had to deal with, or what's the funniest thing you've ever had to deal with. It can be one and the same.
Right. Yeah. Well, we do a lot of crowdsourcing, especially now for the holiday season, etc. You probably heard some of those episodes before, and those are always our favorite because we get to talk to people about things outside of the technological nature that we're in. Mm-hmm. Like Malinda was saying, we have a lot of people that have different skill sets that when you talk to them and hear their passion for them, it's just magical. And
we have people that work for the National Forestry Service. We have people that have pot-bellied pigs as pets. We have people that, like Malinda said, are gourmet chefs or really into cooking. We have people that are musicians. Like the ASCII Anything theme song was a piece of music written by someone at Mosier.
Yes, written and performed by. Yeah, that's completely original. That wasn't. Yeah, we loved that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, there's just so.
And he gave us like 8 options.
Yeah,
he recorded 8 original pieces of music that we had to choose from for the ASCII theme song.
And it was so hard because they were all good. I'm like, I'm just going to keep these others in a file, and they're going to see the light of day in other projects. And thank you very much. But it fit so well.
We felt like it was right.
Like this is the one.
Yeah, so it's been very amazing this past several years. I mean, that we've been doing this. We started in early 2021.
Yes, our first episode was in December of 2020. Right. Just that it was just the
Black Friday.
Black Friday
episode. 10 gifts. Yeah. And right in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
So that was fun.
That was fun too.
So we've obviously evolved a lot, and we will continue to evolve. We will continue to do things to get better at what we're doing. We will continue to do things to have fun, because this is a lot of fun. I have a very serious job in nature, so I'm not gonna lie. This to me is just like I come to Mosier to work for everything that I do, but this is a very special thing that's very near and dear to my heart because it allows me to get outside my comfort zone and get outside of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis within the human resources department that we have. So I'm really looking forward to what we have next.
Yes.
There have been many parts of my career where I absolutely could not believe I was getting paid to do it. This podcast is one of them.
Yes.
Just recording, producing, getting them out there. Sometimes is it a grind occasionally? Yes, that's why there's a paycheck. But for the most part, it's an absolute joy.
Yeah. No, it's great. And we've had a lot of fun together, so we just got to keep it going. So with that, any final thoughts on the podcast?
Just go back and find your favorite episodes. If you're new to ASCII, we have some really great episodes. Go back and find them and just stay tuned for the future.
Yeah. Check out the end of season recaps. We hit a lot of high points from the previous season in those. If you're starting out and then maybe you'll find some pieces, you're like, oh, I need to listen to the whole episode that covers that part. That's a great way to get into it. If you have ideas for subjects we have not covered yet, by golly, we would like to hear about them.
Yeah.
By all means, contact us. Let us know, like, hey, you should do an episode about XYZ. We will look into it and we will find something. If you've got a topic, we have someone at Mosier that knows about it. I guarantee it.
Yep.
And if we don't, we'll find them.
Yeah, for sure.
We found people outside of Mosier, so don't worry. So, again, thank you very much for joining us for our very first video episode of Ask Anything presented by Mosier Consulting. We hope you enjoyed our conversation about where the podcast was, where it is, and where it's headed. Thank you so much. Here's to another 100. So long, everybody.
Now everybody knows why I'm behind the camera. I've got a good face for audio podcasting.
Oh my God.